Good day, everyone. This is your host, Paul Lawrence Vann. I hope that you all had a wonderful day. And this particular episode features an extraordinary guest. Her name is Faith Rumer. Faith, how are you doing today?
Well, it's raining here very hard in Los Angeles, but so I
What?
we have weather, but I'm doing
Yes.
well.
Fantastic. We have rain as well here in Maryland near Washington, D.C. So we're
Yes.
in that east-west exchange here. So, welcome everyone. Of course, Wealth Academy podcast is all about getting these amazing guests like Faith, and she's going to share some important things for you to understand. And of course, throughout this interview, it will give you a chance to really look at who you are through this conversation. So, welcome to the Wealth Academy podcast, where we believe wealth is more than money. It's about influence, impact, and how you show up in the world. Today, I'm joined by an extraordinary guest, as I mentioned, Faith Rumer. She's a performance, empowerment coach, voice and speech consultant, singer, songwriter, and author of Truly Be Seen and Heard. Faith has, Faith has spent decades helping actors, artists, entrepreneurs, and leaders evaluate their presence, project confidence, and speak with authenticity. If you've ever felt invisible, unheard, or unsure how to communicate your truth with power, this conversation will help you find your voice and use it to lead. So, we're going to get right into these questions now. And so, fasten your seatbelt, everyone, because Faith is going to deliver just another masterpiece. Let's face it. So,
All
Faith,
right.
what inspired you to dedicate your life to helping others find their authentic voice?
Well, I would say honestly, it goes back to when I was a little girl. I always felt this pull towards expression, towards using my voice, but really also helping others. I remember as a kid always trying to teach and coach other people how to do things. But as a child, I was taught that children should be quiet, polite,
Mhm.
not ask for too much. I was taught that it was not nice to show off. In fact, I remember a moment where had a new pink dress on and I went, ta-da! And my mom said, honey, it's not nice to show off. I was like, oh my gosh. So I learned that kind of to hide my light and shut down my creative energy, but I still wanted to express myself. So eventually I found my, expression in music and in the arts and even in drawing and in the world of music and acting. And then over the years, as a performer and as a vocalist and a coach, I kept seeing the same thing that there were people with so much talent, so much heart, but they were in hiding.
Sure.
They didn't trust their own voice.
Could they have been introverts, perhaps?
Well, and that's
Some
one
of
way to
them,
look at
maybe.
it.
Uh-huh.
But, sometimes we maybe are not I always thought of myself as an introvert, even though I've sung in front of 50,000 people.
Me too.
Yeah, yeah. But I've always felt that way. And it is because I was not encouraged to like shine my light, to go, hello, hello, how are you? Now that's changed a lot for me.
Fantastic.
I'll walk into a room and I'll just talk to people. I go to, the store and I'll just chat somebody up.
Yeah,
Uh,
same here.
because I feel like that we all have a connection and people are interesting to me.
Yeah, same with me. Same with me. Now, are you from a large family by chance, as far as siblings?
We're four kids,
Okay.
four of us kids. So yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
My parents had a lot to do, and my mom had a lot on her hands. And we were all kind of born around the same time, so it was a lot of small kids. So she needed us to behave,
Absolutely. Now,
right?
do you have a sister or all brothers?
I have two sisters and one older brother. I'm the
Okay.
oldest girl. Right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah,
Yep.
I was an introvert, Faith, as well, and I'm one of 10 children.
Yes.
Five sisters, four brothers. And my older sister and I had to kind of raise them as we were in our preteens and teens. So I understand. And my voice, I was told to uh, don't say anything in front of adults. The same
Mhm,
thing. Yeah. And
mhm.
I'm not sure why, but that's just the way it was in our generation, I suppose.
I think that's part of it, and also it's a lot
Sure.
for a parent when you have a lot of children, it's a lot for a parent to handle all of the noise, all of the energy, trying to calm it down all of the time. And so we're not encouraged to get out there. And my book, Truly Be Seen and Heard, is about how it feels almost like an epidemic now where people are feeling unseen and unheard,
Yes. Yeah,
right? And
absolutely.
I believe that being seen and heard is a basic human need. The
I
need
think
to,
so.
the need to, you think about little kids, how often they'll go, look at me. They're doing something. They're doing
Yes.
some kind of sport or at the pool. They're,
Yes.
going to do a somersault and they want their parents to watch them or their siblings.
Exactly. And that's it's innocence as well.
Yes,
They're
yes,
they're speaking from that love and joy inside their spirit.
right.
And so that's part of that right there. And of course, we know today with technology being what it is, children are a lot different in terms of their orientation growing up. It's more with the device more so than human to human
Hmm.
communication. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And that's as to create our businesses successfully, to have those kinds of successful, um, uh, not just businesses, but life in general, we
Yeah,
need to communicate. We need to communicate what I call, and we need to become not just good communicators, but awesome communicators.
for sure, for sure. I
Mhm.
totally agree. And it's happening each and every day.
Yeah.
Faith, how do you define being seen and heard in a world that's constantly, I mean, constantly talking rather than listening, but
Hmm.
rarely listening?
Yeah. Well, I think that to me, it's about being not about being loud, it's
Sure.
about being received.
Yes.
So even when I teach breathing, I teach us not, I reframe the whole idea of how we breathe. We
Good.
don't take a breath, we receive the breath.
Ah, very nice.
So
Very nice.
you receive your clients, you don't take them.
Yes, I totally agree. Would you like to share any breathing techniques or anything?
Well, that's a really simple one.
Sure.
So if you just imagine that you're opening your body, you're going to open your
Okay.
body completely.
Okay.
And then we're going to receive the breath down through the nose,
Okay.
down the mouth, through the throat, everything. And then fill up the bottom part of your lungs. Just fill up the
Okay.
bottom part of your
Bottom
lungs.
part. Okay.
And just hold that. Yeah. Let it go. Now, I saw a little bit of taking, Paul, because your shoulders got involved. So when our shoulders go, we're more in the taking place of it. And that's often the way we're taught in yoga and so many
Yeah.
places. But if we just
Yes.
go open, there you go, and then let it go.
Yeah, mine was, and you're exactly right, Faith, because mine was coming from a position of having played competitive sports, football and track. And so
Hmm.
we tend to take those larger breaths, as you stated. And so you picked up on it just like that.
Right. And we can receive just as large a breath. In fact, it's actually more because
Sure.
when we take the breath, we're tightening up here a little bit. And we're only filling up this part of our lungs, like if you could see me from here up, and we want to
Exactly.
fill down the bottom part.
Bottom. Fantastic, fantastic. And I know people who will listen, those who will listen on the archive, of course, they can also practice this as well, what Faith has just shared with us, because it really has a lot to do with our energy as well, our spirit.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Most people speak from their surface selves. They're rushing, they're performing, they're trying to get it right.
Yes.
But when you're grounded and authentic and present, people feel you
Yes.
and they respond
Absolutely.
differently. So that breath just helps us to drop down into that present moment.
Yes. And it also helps us to also resonate with others
Yeah.
through that
Yes.
energy, the energy level that's being transmitted.
And how often do we are speaking with somebody and we're not really listening to the other person? We're waiting for our moment to speak or thinking about what we're going to say when they're finished.
Yes. It's a difference between being heard and listening.
Yes.
In other words, we may hear something that go from one ear to outside the other, as the quote goes. But when we actually listen, that's where the real communication takes place.
Right. And it's in that communication, our voice has the capability of motivating people, of inspiring people, educating, closing deals,
Yes.
right? And even changing people's lives.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
it's really about how we show up, because our voice isn't just about speaking, it's about how we show up.
absolutely. And I'll give an example that I was the elected the PTA, Parent Teacher Association president of my children's school for 2 years. And it was an election. And so it was the aspect of I really had to listen not only to the students, but the teachers, the principal, and the parents.
Hmm.
And so you have to be a really great leader and really listen to people because people in the audience, they want to be heard.
Absolutely, they do.
They want to be heard. So that's fantastic. You've worked with Oscar and Grammy winners. What's one universal challenge even top performers face with their voice? This is going to be interesting.
Well, I will say that even the best performers face fear, fear of being judged, of not measuring up, fear of not being enough. And people assume that confidence is just automatic, that it's, at that level, but it's not, especially when they're facing and doing something new. So
Excellent.
I worked with a Grammy winning, well, Eddie Van Halen,
Oh, yeah.
him.
Yes.
And
Yes.
rock guitar player, the most confident person on playing guitar you could ever imagine.
Absolutely.
But he wanted to become a better singer because he wasn't sure if he wanted to do an acoustic album or what he wanted to do. So he hired me to work with him. And and he at first, of course, wasn't that confident
Uh-huh.
that he could do what we wanted to do, but he was willing to try.
Fine.
And that's what I've realized in the top performers is that even though they face the fear, they're willing to try.
Absolutely. And Eddie Van Halen is one of the best ever.
Yeah.
One of the
An
best ever.
extraordinary human being. I learned something about my, asking for what I was worth, when I was working with him as well. Um, the funny story is that I get a call from Eddie Van Halen and my office, and I answer the phone, and the person says, "Hi, it's Eddie Van Halen." I went,
Somebody's trying to prank me. Stop it. Stop it now.
"Is this really?"
Oh, yeah.
And then he hired me, and our first time meeting, I went up to his studio,
Uh-huh.
and he said, "Well, what do you charge? What do you charge?" He
Sure.
didn't even ask me on the phone, and I told him, and he looked at me and he goes, I don't think that's enough."
I like Eddie.
Yeah, he said, "I want to pay you this much because I think you have to, you're worth it. You have to drive here," and I learned that I was undervaluing myself.
Ah, so he had that awareness to understand. He probably had checked with some other folks as well, some other
Yeah.
experts. Yes,
Probably. And what an interesting, he probably did the same thing to himself, where he
sure.
undervalued himself until he got to the place where now he could,
Call it
act
shots.
right,
Yeah,
exactly. But that's a really great lesson for all of us.
for sure. Don't undervalue. Now, that really, the first thing when you said that, I thought about Barbara Streisand because
Hmm.
she also had trouble when it came to singing in front of audiences. She was very shy and just they had to really calm her to get her on the stage to perform, to
Yeah.
act, whatever it happened to be, which I was really shocked about that because her performance just
Yeah.
knocked the socks off, just like Eddie Van Halen and knock your socks
Right. Well, what I know about that is that when she was younger, she had a lot of moxie, which we would
off.
call back then. And she
Exactly.
came out and she had 19 years old. She was on Broadway and she was
Absolutely.
performing. It was later on in her career
Mhm.
where she hadn't been performing that much. And then they wanted her to come out and do a tour, and
Sure.
she couldn't do it, partly because the expectations about what her voice needed to sound like were so high.
Right.
When she was first starting out, she was making her way, people were going, "Whoa, who's this new person? This is wonderful." Now it's Barbara Streisand. You got to hit that note.
Absolutely. They
It's
can't
like,
miss.
yeah, yeah, Michael Jordan,
Yes.
what they expected from Michael Jordan.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. The best
Yeah.
standard. The standards
Well,
were high.
I know I was a big Michael Jordan fan being from Chicago. And
Absolutely.
I remember watching him once in the playoffs, and one night he could not miss anything.
I know.
Everyone, and he what
That's
and you
when he
remember,
held his hands up.
yeah, you saw that when he
It's
goes,
the Portland Trailblazers
I don't know,
in
right?
the
You saw
championship.
that exact same thing. The next
Absolutely.
night he only made 20 points, which for Michael Jordan was not as enough.
Exactly. That was warming up.
Yeah, yeah.
See, I knew Michael Jordan of him through the fact that I'm from the state of North Carolina. He played for UNC Chapel Hill, and that was my favorite team.
Right. That's right. That makes sense. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's fantastic. And there are just a lot of music artists, actors, actresses that have that challenge of really getting in front of that audience and performing. And some would actually get sick before they perform. That's how
Hmm.
much the pressure that they've applied to themselves. And I think that's healthy because that means they want to do great.
Well, you can look at it. Can we shift that
Sure,
energy of
sure.
fear, of anxiety into
Yes.
enthusiasm and excitement?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what we want people to take away from this.
Absolutely, yeah, that's right. And what happens when as far as what affects the voice, when we get anxious or worried or fearful, we tense up, and then we can't speak very well.
Yes, I want to share some with you, Faith, that it's going to be kind of funny though. But when I was younger, a teen, going through that period in middle school, high school, and when I get around a young lady that I like, and I really I would perspire. I was so nervous.
It makes sense. It
Yeah,
makes
and I didn't really know what to say, so my words kind of came out jumbled, but it was innocence.
Yes, yes.
Yes, it was innocent, and that's what this discussion has reminded me of. That I'm like, oh my God, what was I thinking? I should have said nothing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but it's like even allowing the more we practice something, the easier it gets. So
Absolutely.
maybe if you asked 10 girls out, it would got might have got
Exactly. I need more repetition.
yeah. And
I
then
need,
they just say, "Oh, he's just a player."
exactly. And he wasn't Michael Jordan either. Life is beautiful. So, when it comes to this particular question, how does voice reflect our internal state, our emotions, beliefs, and mindset? And I'll just slow it down a little bit here, but how does the voice reflect our internal state?
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's a vital connection between our voice and our emotions.
Mhm.
Um, and also the mindset that we were just talking about. When we don't think our voice matters, we don't tell people how we truly feel or how we think. We don't share our dreams. We don't speak up. We're not showing up as who we are.
Sure.
And then when we suppress our voice and our emotions, we suppress our presence.
Yes.
And that
Yes.
affects our body, our behavior, and the way we show up in the world.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to our emotions, how does the voice reflect our emotions?
Well, the voice is I've sometimes called it the window to the soul.
Yes.
So whatever you're feeling is going to be reflected in your voice. You know that sometimes, you'll say to someone, "How you doing?" And they go, "I'm okay." And you're like, "No, you're not."
Exactly.
So they're saying the words, "I'm okay." There is research that shows that our impact that we make on people, that 7% is about the words.
Oh,
That
wow. 7.
38%
Yeah.
is about our voice and the tone of our voice and how we are delivering the words. And then 55% is about our body language.
Yes. Yeah. So that's all the communications that's taking place with people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, our voice doesn't lie. We don't, our brain has developed in such a way. I was doing some research on this today. I was looking at a book that was talking about this, and our brain was developed in such a way that we could discern, to keep ourselves safe,
Sure.
another human being going, what that meant.
Yes.
And there's our limbic system,
Mhm.
that part of our brain will react to these things that are encoded into our brain. So if you hit your thumb with a hammer, you'll automatically make a sound.
Absolutely. Whether we want to or not.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. And that shows up in our lives. You saw it going, something like that, or
Sure.
oh, really? Now, I am a firm believer of voicing our feelings. Find a way to speak your feelings out loud, even if it's a couple of minutes by yourself,
Yeah.
voicing what you're feeling.
Yes. Yes. I know there's this thing about speakers. I'm a speaker as well. I know
Mhm.
that you are also, that that's where people come in. The scariest thing for people is public speaking, I believe, the way it goes.
Yeah,
And I guess a lot of it is self-belief. Yeah, part of it is self-believing in oneself, not wanting to make mistakes. That's the worst thing that can happen. It's okay to make mistakes if you're speaking.
it
No,
is.
no one in the audience knows.
But even if they do, and you say,
Sure.
"Can I go?
Uh,
I'm just going to go back and talk about this," and they would,
Exactly.
oh, sure, they'll go right along with you.
Sure. Yeah, it's like one of my speaking coaches said, the late Dottie Walters. She wrote the book Speak and Grow Rich. I went out to
Mhm.
Burbank, California, in a marketing symposium she held. I sit beside Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk. He was in my class. I can say that.
Yes,
And,
it was.
and it was this aspect of, she said, you really have to refine your voice. You have to really work on it all the time. It's not something you can just, some people can go on stage and say anything, but those are the celebrities, the athletes, etc. But for the average person, you really have to hit the mark.
Well, even the athletes and the celebrities work on their voice. One of my clients is Akbar Bashabi Amila.
Yes.
Do you know who he is?
Yes. He's one of the announcers for the show, the competitive show.
Or American Ninja Warrior.
Warrior.
And
Exactly.
yeah,
Yes.
and he's been on that show. Now, when he first started on that show, we started working together.
Okay.
And he was just had retired from the NFL.
Yeah. Right.
And he for the Raiders and I think San Diego.
Uh-huh.
And so he was starting, he wanted to be a sportscaster, like just
Okay.
a color commentary. And
Exactly.
so I was working with him on his voice, and then he got the opportunity to be the co-host for American Ninja Warrior.
Warrior.
But
Right.
that was going to require a much more expressive, bigger sounding voice than he had.
For sure.
So
For
we worked on that.
That is wonderful. That is so amazing. And when you get down to it, look at what's happening. Ninja Warriors now part of the Olympics.
It's amazing. And then he also became the co-host for the morning show, The Talk. So
Yeah.
he was on that on CBS. So that's such an interesting thing. Wanted a whole different experience for him too. But he got so comfortable with speaking and using his voice.
Yeah, that is amazing, especially for an NFL player, athlete. My cousin played for the New York Giants, got drafted by the New York Giants, and so I got a chance to meet all of the Giants when I was in college. And so that's that
Hmm.
platform, and then for him to transition, and he's doing Ninja Warrior. That is really a transformation. So let's also look at the voice, how it's reflected in mindset.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so let's see, mindset
Hmm.
it kind of goes along with our idea of the emotional. It's very hard to not have those connect to each other. In my book, I talk about something I call the nonverbal communication loop trigger.
Yeah, I like it.
So what happens? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
you
So what
own that title, right?
I do. That is mine right there. Nonverbal communication loop trigger.
Oh, yeah.
So we have these nonverbal things that happen. There's something in our body. Our body language does something. We could have a panic attack.
Sure.
right? So what starts it? The idea, a situation happens, I have to give a presentation. It's
Mhm.
got to be perfect,
Yes.
or I'm going to be fired, or I won't get, or someone's not,
Oh,
I'm not going to get my,
rebooked. Uh-huh.
right. So that thought starts to create some chemicals in our brain, which then gets released into our body, and we experience that as emotion. Now that is just energy.
Sure.
So the energy of anxiety. So then the body reacts in sweating, right? You were doing right,
I
all
know
of that,
about that.
right? Sweating, not being able to take your breath. I was working with someone in a financial advisor, and that's what he was going through.
Sure.
He had that sort of panic attack when he had to present in front of his bosses.
Office. Yeah.
So we had to work with calming that body down, using the breath, using the voice, and then mindset work as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. Now, one question I want to ask you now, it just came to mind. When you're receiving a call from Eddie Van Halen and others, how do you feel when you receive a call like that or from others that you work with? And how do what do you say to yourself when they call you and contact you to work with them? What is that like?
Well, first of all, it's exciting on some level, obviously. And I when you get to that place where someone's going to call you for that,
Sure.
um, you're in a place where you know what you're doing,
Got it.
right? So
Yeah.
you have to, what for me, I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I'm here to serve them. Um, it's an interesting thing. I Yeah, so there's that. I remember when I was called in at Paramount Pictures to by Peter Bogdanovich at the
Oh
time,
yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
director,
Mhm.
and he wanted me to work with an actress on a movie they were shooting, but I was going to go to New York and work with her there.
Sure.
So I get there, and they say, "Can you be there?" And I go, "I always say yes." You say yes,
Oh yeah.
I'll
Ab-
say yes, and then figure it out. You know what I mean? Say
Absolutely.
yes and then figure it out. So I get to his office and I get into his office. He says, "I have 10 minutes before I have to get on a plane.
Sure.
Why should I hire you?"
Ooh, interesting question.
Yes. So I said, because here's the thing. I needed to know what he needed her to do, because then I could say if I could help her or not. Because
For sure.
I know what I can do. I know what I can't do too, you
Sure.
know, So I said, "Well, what do you need her to do?" And then he started to tell me what she needed to do. And I said, "I can help you with that."
Fantastic. Fantastic. Ooh, I know you inside you're just bubbling and
Yes,
just
it's
amazing
exciting.
things that are taking place and you get energized because now you know that you can make a difference
Right.
for this particular individual for this particular purpose.
And it goes back to being prepared. When you're prepared, like when you go out and speak, if you're not prepared to speak,
Sure. Make a
you're
show.
gonna, you will show, absolutely.
Mhm.
So putting in the reps, whatever it is that we need to do is a super important thing.
Absolutely. Now, you're also the founder of Raising Your Impact. Let's talk about that just a bit.
Well, that's my business where I work with speakers and
Yes.
entrepreneurs and CEOs of billion-dollar companies, all kind. And what you said about everybody being the same, it doesn't matter. I'm sure you know
Sure.
that people
Oh,
that you
yeah.
work with, yeah, we're all operating from that same human level. So that business I formed for that to work with um, as a life coach.
Sure.
I work and a mentor. I work as a mentor for people and 6-month programs, year-long programs with them, helping them to really live their most expressed life.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. I put it like this, Faith Rumer. You are a gift,
Oh,
blessed gift to people.
oh,
At
thank
first to yourself and then to the people that you serve.
you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, let me share a little bit more about Faith. She's she has a master's in speech pathology, focus on voice science and career coaching for Oscar and Grammy winning performers, TV hosts, founders, and podcasters. That's a mouthful.
Uh-huh.
And she was the former musical director and co-facilitator for Agape International Spiritual Center there in
Hmm.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo. All I know is I'm in the presence of royalty.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I show up and I have a want to do my excellent the best I can do. I have a bar of excellence, not perfection, you
Sure.
know.
Yes, and
I keep,
consistency.
yeah.
Yes, consistency. Well, we're honored to have you here for sure. So, could you share a practice or exercise that's helped people unlock their natural voice and presence?
Could I share? Yes. Okay. Um, so this is an interesting thing. I We can unlock your voice in many different ways. The breathing was the first step.
Yes,
But the second step is about your energy. What kind of energy do you want to bring into the moment?
got it.
Or how do you want to feel? And so what we can do is if you just maybe you want to feel I want to feel inspired. I want to bring that feeling of being bold, or that could be something that you want to bring into the moment. What about being curious,
Yes,
right? So if you
very
just take a
interesting.
moment and reflect what it felt like to be curious as a child,
Yes,
like just feel it in your body, let your body feel that curiosity.
yes,
Oh, what's that about? That looks interesting.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we could take that energy into our meeting, into a conversation, even a tough conversation, bring that curiosity into a tough conversation.
for sure, for
So,
sure.
or we're going whatever it is that we want to practice, and I call practicing it, practicing these energies in our body.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
That is
then,
fantastic.
yeah, that's that. So the breath, what energy do you want to bring? And then how do you want other people to feel around you?
Yes. And that's just like asking the producer, what do you want? What do you want the actress to do?
Yeah,
Scene and for this particular movie.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's fantastic. Just inside, I'm just bubbling because I'm like, no, that's really amazing. That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
all I can say.
Thank you. It's a really wonderful, easy practice that we can use to really shift our energy. And you can always learn vocal skills, how to breathe, how to express yourself. Those are things I teach, but these basic things are so easy to implement right away.
Right? Just bringing it from the internal and bringing it out for sure, for sure. Now, you recently performed and were a participant at UCLA,
Uh-huh.
University of California, LA. When I had my first Air Force assignment, I was scheduled to go to LA Air Station. And somehow, one of my friends in that assignment, I ended up in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
And I had planned on getting my master's at UCLA, but it never happened because I was in Ohio
Yes.
with the assignment. Share a bit about your recent, and this was last weekend there at UCLA. What was that like? And I know there were some guests on there, a lot of people are going to be aware of.
Well, I was filming my talks there at UCLA, and we had some wonderful other speakers that I shared the stage with. It was an incredible energy. I spoke about um, the how to speak up and show up and shine in our lives, and then I also spoke about how to really engage and communicate with others, the how to become an awesome communicator. So I
Oh,
had two different things I was talking about, but they worked together, and it was an amazing experience. That little exercise I just shared with you was one of the exercises I shared with them.
oh, wow. That is amazing. That's really amazing. And I
Mhm.
know they really appreciate it as well. Yes, I know they appreciated that.
Yeah.
I had a family member and on my mom's side of the family, and her name is Marie Cole. She was the wife of Nat King Cole.
Oh my goodness.
And so when I used to come out to work in Los Angeles, I did a lot of work in Northridge. I would stop in and visit them.
Yeah.
And I would stay over. We would just have a great time. And of course, UCLA was one of my favorite. That was the school I was supposed to get my master's at.
Wow. It's a great school. I don't live very far from it, so it's
Oh
really.
yeah, yeah. Near and of course, Nat King Cole. He lived out in Brentwood. Yeah,
Hmm.
with California for sure. So, why is vocal authenticity essential for leaders, and entrepreneurs, and anyone building influence?
Well, that the key to become an awesome communicator, um, I have actually a formula for it. Is
Okay.
we need to develop our power and presence, which we've kind of been talking about, but we also that's not really enough. We need to add genuine connection.
Yes,
Um,
connection is
yeah,
important.
power and presence, you're going to work on your voice, the way you carry yourself,
Mhm.
you're commanding a room, you're going to work on, being able to, you want to be seen and heard. All of these, you ask for what you want. All of those things are your power and presence. But your genuine connection
Mhm.
is about really having empathy,
Yeah,
support,
support,
right?
emotional intelligence. Yeah,
Emotional intelligence, that you're willing to show up for other people, that you have good effective listening skills. All of those are super important for genuine connection. When you put the two together, now we have true confidence,
for sure.
right? We
Sure.
have, we can inspire people really, and we're good leaders at that point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell you that this is so important, and I really want, especially the younger people, to really understand this because I have two Generation Z children, and their communications is totally different than mine and my generation.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of times they really don't want to talk.
Well, they're on their devices, so much.
Exactly.
And that can really make a huge difference. I remember, and this is kind of a funny thing, going to a party,
Sure.
and it actually was a bar mitzvah.
Yes.
So they're
Uh-huh.
12-year-olds, right? They're 12-year-old kids.
Absolutely. Uh-huh.
And at the table, all of the kids, all dressed up in their party
Oh,
wear,
yeah.
are on their phones, every single one of them. Nobody's talking to anybody.
Yeah. Or I've seen couples on a date and they're both on their devices. I'm like, what?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a lot different, and that's what I see with my children. And I just told them, I said, another form of communication, of course, as a part of a voice, is writing. And I said, I can remember when, of course, there were no cell phones when I was growing up. You had the pay phone with the quarter. So I happened to see one, and I took them over, and then they said, "What is this?" I said, "This is the pay phone we used to use back in the day."
It's like Back to the Future or something, right?
Dinosaur, right? And then I said, well, I used to write my aunt and uncle in New York
Yeah.
letters. And so it's a challenge for them, the writing aspect. And so it's a lot different. So I think for our young folks, what would you encourage our young folks to do to help with their communication, their voice?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, well, I got to tell you, I used to teach a teen acting class,
Oh, great.
and I said no cell phones.
Hmm.
I said it said if you get a call and it is a important call,
Important call,
you
right?
can go out in the hallway,
Sure.
uh, to get it. But otherwise, no, not even text, nothing. So they weren't able to, and they were a little scared at first. Like, what do you mean? So I think that the first thing would be to put down the phone and just
Mhm.
talk. Just talk to your friend.
Sure,
Ask, yeah, I would say ask them what's going on with them, how they feel, what's happening in their life. Get interested in somebody else.
sure.
I
Yeah.
think that would be one of my suggestions.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I told my children, I said, just remember there's a thing called an inheritance. You have to be kind to your father, right?
Oh, I love it. I
They
love
were
it.
like, Dad, what are you talking about? I was communicating with them. I was getting them to talk. Actually, that's what was happening. And so, yeah, that's we're in a little different time and space now, Faith. Different
Mhm.
space. So let's talk a little bit about your book.
Okay.
Tell us about your upcoming book. Is truly be seen and heard. What do you want readers to walk away with as a
Okay.
central theme for your book?
Well, the book is out on Amazon. It's now a bestseller, so you can get it up on
Oh,
Amazon. So it's thank
congratulations.
you very much. Thank you. It's really exciting. It's my first book, and
Oh,
I would encourage anyone who has a book inside of them to write it.
yes, put it
Definitely.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Um, so the book is really a guide into stepping into your full presence,
Okay.
your voice, your emotional truth, and your authentic expression. Um, it's to elevate your presence, find your authentic voice, and go from invisible to visible.
Yes. Absolutely.
So yeah, it's really what for me, I wrote it as a more of a transformative journey,
Sure.
for someone than just to learn about how to speak so that they can be seen and heard in every aspect of their life. Um, I want them to go away knowing that, and here I say that everyone deserves to feel authentic and powerful.
Absolutely.
Everyone deserves to speak up for their needs and their dreams,
Sure.
right? So my goal in writing it was to empower people with the skills that they could to create the impact that they could get their gifts and talents and their thoughts and ideas out into the world.
Definitely.
And if I were to say, you don't have to change who you are to be powerful,
That's
you
right.
empower more of who you are.
Yes, yes. Because I know I had a post the other day. I was kind of sharing about a conversation I was having with a cousin. I said he didn't have a problem with what I was saying because it was all my experience and my truth. He
Yeah.
just had a problem with me being the one saying it.
Mm,
And there's a big difference. And I told people never allow anyone to silence you because it was an aspect of trying to silence someone.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
said, I'm too old to be silenced. Right. And so I tell people, I said, let your voice be heard, be your authentic self, and continue being who you were created and purposed to be.
And as we explore our body and our energy and our voice, and we allow ourselves to speak up and find our authentic voice, we actually discover that
Mm,
we have all these hidden gifts and talents that we never thought we had.
definitely. Definitely. And something that you mentioned earlier about being curious, to me, that's one of the most important aspects of having that authenticity there.
Yeah.
Because if you a person thinks because they're aged that they can't learn something new, but you can learn something new to the last breath that one takes.
Oh, that's very true. That's very true. It's not over till it's over, right?
Absolutely, I totally agree. I totally agree. So, Faith, how can people continue growing their confidence and impact after today's conversation? What do you want people to take away from your conversation today?
Well, I've kind of said that. Start small.
Yes.
Practice using your voice every day,
Mhm.
not just to speak, but to connect with people.
Yeah,
So, like when I said to your, the young people,
sure.
ask a friend, like, what's going on with you today? How do you feel? Or, is there something you need? You just connect with them.
And that's
Then
powerful.
yeah, it really is.
Powerful.
Surround yourself with people and mentors or communities who lift your voice up rather than quiet it,
Yes.
right? And remember that you'll be afraid. It's a natural part of expanding into your personal greatness.
Yes.
And all you have to do is take one step at a time and you'll get there. And you don't need to compare yourself to anyone because the world needs your unique gifts.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And there is a way, even when it feels like you don't know what to do.
I agree. Out of 8 billion people, there's significance with the one individual.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That was just amazing. That was amazing. And Faith, I'm really honored. You and I, of course, met with Blue Talk,
That's right.
and it was a great experience with Corey. Corey is just amazing. Now
That's
he knows me.
right. That's where I was at UCLA, was with
Yeah,
Cole.
Corey and
And
Heidi. Yeah,
Victoria and Heidi got a chance to meet them. They were just wonderful, wonderful people. They walk the talk. They speak their heart. They are there to serve and help everyone which is a great model, role model, to help
absolutely.
everyone that they work with.
I totally agree. That's why I'm a part of it. Well, thank you so much for being our honored guest. And I want to close here. What a powerful, enlightening conversation with Faith Rumer. She reminded us that our voice isn't just sound, it's energy, emotion, and our most human connection to others. When you speak from authenticity, you create impact. When you lead from presence, you inspire others to rise. Remember, your voice matters, just as Faith just reminded us, and the world is waiting to hear it. Faith, thank you for showing us how to be truly seen and heard.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Okay. And here's my call of action. I love to give people call to action so that you can really engage and think even more about today's conversation with Faith. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who needs to find their voice. Follow Faith Rumer at raisinyourimpact.com and get her upcoming book, her book that's here now on Amazon, Truly Be Seen and Heard. And don't forget to subscribe to Wealth Academy podcast, where we help you to master self leadership, mindset, and money so you can build wealth beyond money. So, Faith, I had a fantastic time. I knew that I would.
Me
And,
too.
I look forward to seeing more of you as your book progresses and make that cycle. Especially, this would make just a great Christmas gift for family, friends, colleagues, and people that you know and love. So get out there to Amazon and get Faith Rumer's book. And thank you so much. And then go out there to Apple Podcasts, rate and review this episode with Faith Rumer. Provide her with a review and a 5-star rating. We really appreciate it. And again, I'm your host, Paul Lawrence Vann. Thank you so much for listening today at Faith Rumer, and recommend it to your friends, family, and colleagues. And we appreciate you so much. And I'll see you on the next episode of Wealth Academy Podcast. Have a great day and happy holidays to you, Faith.
Thank you so much. You too, Paul.
All right, will do. Have a great day, everyone, and thank you so much.